I've noticed we're losing subscribers. Not the YouTube kind, but the kind that swore they'd be in my life forever. Funny how that works. One day you're surrounded by people who claim to love you, and the next, you're watching them walk away like you were just another phase in their lives. By the way, if you're here, do me a favor, subscribe. It's free, and unlike some people in my life, you won't regret sticking around. I never imagined my life could shatter in a single night. But here I was, standing in the wreckage of a marriage I thought was built on trust. My name is Jake. I'm 30, my wife, Emily, is 25. We've been together for 6 years, married for 3. No kids, no major assets, just a joint account that barely stays afloat. I bring in $4,000 a month, she earns about $1,500. I work hard, thinking I'm building a future, thinking I'm providing for a family, until everything unraveled. My work family is tight-knit. One of my co-workers, a guy I trusted, invited me to join a recreational soccer league. I played for 2 years and Emily always came along. I thought it was sweet at first, her cheering me on. But looking back, maybe she just came for the alcohol. After the games, a group of us would hang out, sometimes at a bar, sometimes at someone's house. One night, the group planned to go to a friend's house, but I declined. I had work early the next morning. On the way home, Emily texted someone asking for a ride. "Can I go?" she asked. "No," I said. "I want to be with you tonight." Her silence was thick with resentment. She drowned her frustration in alcohol as I drove home. And then, just as we pulled into our driveway, a car appeared, my coworker's car. She stepped out of mine and into his. Without hesitation. Without shame. I stood frozen, my world tilting on its axis. Inside, anger churned in my gut. I found her old iPad, one I had given her years ago. She barely used it, but it was still linked to her messaging accounts. I checked. I shouldn't have, but I did. And I saw everything. The messages were still coming in. Real time. "Buddy, last night was amazing. You were wild." "Emily, I barely remember anything. Send me something to jog my memory." "Buddy, a video?" And then he did. I barely made it to the bathroom before I vomited. I was shaking. My body wasn't my own. The images burned into my mind. Images of my wife, the woman I vowed to love and cherish, tangled with my friend. Hours later, I returned home. She was asleep as if nothing had happened. I sat across from her when she woke, my voice eerily calm. "Tell me everything about last night." She recounted a harmless story, drinks, games, talking. No mention of sex. No mention of betrayal. "When did you last talk to Buddy?" I pressed. "This morning, but nothing important," she said. I took a breath, then dropped the bomb. "Would your story change if you knew I saw your entire conversation?" Her face drained of color. Tears pooled in her eyes. The first words out of her mouth were, "Are you leaving me?" And then the truth came pouring out. Yes, she had slept with Buddy. And another teammate. She wasn't sure if there were more. She didn't remember. There had been others before too, one of them even in our home while I slept upstairs. I couldn't feel anything. Not anger, not grief. Just emptiness. I packed her bags. She begged me not to tell anyone. This, she said, was our story and ours alone. She promised to change. Swore she'd start AA. Wanted therapy. Begged for another chance. But I couldn't unsee what I saw. I couldn't unhear her confession. Tomorrow I meet with a lawyer. I don't know if I'm making the right choice. But I do know one thing. Whatever love I had for her is buried beneath the wreckage of what she destroyed. I never thought I'd be here, trapped in this slow, agonizing unraveling of a marriage that had already crumbled. Every day, I woke up to an empty house filled with echoes of betrayal. Every night, I watched her lie to everyone but me. The night I uncovered her ongoing affair, my world tilted again. The weight of it all crushed me. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I swallowed my sobs and grabbed my phone. I called my sister. She answered. Through violent tears, I told her everything. She kept me on the phone until I calmed down, even though she had no idea I was staring at a bottle full of pills, debating whether I could bear another day of this. Eventually, I numbed out. I washed my face, put the pills back, and lay in bed until morning, though sleep never came. At sunrise, I made a decision. I had to get out of that house. I stuffed the iPad, the proof of her deception, and the pill bottle into my briefcase. When I arrived at work, I handed them to my most trusted coworker. I told him to lock them away, to never give them back no matter what. He patted my shoulder. No words, just understanding. So there it was, undisputed proof that my wife was a liar and a cheat. And yet, I struggled with what to do. The rage burned inside me, screaming to expose her to the world, to tell her family, our friends, everyone. But I held back. Divorce was coming. And if I made this ugly, she could make it worse. 4 days, I ignored her texts, her calls, her desperate attempts to reach me. Then she showed up. Seeing her in person nearly broke me. I wanted to scream, to demand answers she could never give. Instead, I stayed calm. Cold. She sensed it. "Why are you acting weird?" she snapped, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. I gave her one last chance. "Have you spoken to Buddy since that night?" She scoffed. "No. I blocked him everywhere." I stared at her. "Are you sure?" She swore up and down that she hadn't. That he was disgusting. That she'd never hurt me. Then I pulled out my phone. "What about this app?" I asked, playing a video of their messages. The secret chats. The shared photos. The planning. She crumbled. Collapsing to the floor, she sobbed, pleaded, begged. But my voice remained steady. "I won't tell anyone. But you won't fight me on this divorce. If you do, people will learn the truth. Your choice." 2 days later, she was served. Since then, I've watched her movements. Every night she goes to him. Her family believes she's at AA meetings. My screenshots of her real location tell a different story. Why hasn't she changed her iCloud password? Does she think I don't know? Or does she not care? I don't even know why I keep gathering proof. Maybe I just need something to hold on to in this nightmare. Every day, I come home to an empty house, haunted by memories of a woman I no longer recognize. But I'm surviving. I no longer think of ending my life. But these are dark days. I take things hour by hour, waiting for the legal process to be over. Waiting to be free. Final update, the end of a nightmare. It's over. After 6 months and 1 agonizing day, my divorce is final. No more waiting. No more hiding. No more pretending. Looking back, my first posts were a desperate, chaotic mess of emotions. I thought nothing could be worse than D-Day, but the slow burn of the legal process nearly broke me. I listened to the advice I got from strangers, people who felt more trustworthy than my own wife. I cut ties. I handed over the iPad. I removed her from accounts, leases, finances, every thread that bound us together. And yet I played the long game. I knew my state favored no-fault divorce. I knew she could push for spousal support. And there was no way in hell I was going to pay her a dime after what she did. So I lied. I let her believe I was considering reconciliation. That I just needed time. That if we ended this marriage mutually, we could rebuild. She believed me. I made the process as smooth as possible, convincing her it was best for both of us. She signed everything without question. She never even read the papers. And in the end, I walked away. Free. No spousal support. No lingering ties. Just silence. It disgusts me to admit how easily she fell for it, but I don't regret it. She stole my trust. My dignity. Months of my life. Now I have them back. The man who posted that first update, the one who shook with rage, who felt sick at the sight of her texts, who nearly swallowed a handful of pills, he's gone. I'm still healing. But I survived. And that's enough. 2 years. It's been almost 2 years since I uncovered the truth, since I stared at that glowing screen, heart pounding, breath shallow, watching the life I thought I had shatter in real time. Looking back, I don't recognize the man who first posted here. The one who drowned in grief, who shook with rage, who debated swallowing a bottle of pills just to escape the pain. That man is gone. But the scars remain. The final blow. A family member, one who knew the truth, texted me asking if my wife and I were still working things out. I played along. Yes. Why? Then came the picture. My wife and Buddy eating out in another city. The next text hit harder. This is happening now. I lost it. I texted my wife immediately, demanding an explanation. She lied, of course. I'm at an AA meeting. I'll call you later. My response? Pure venom. I didn't realize restaurants held AA meetings. Is Buddy your sponsor now? That got her attention. She called instantly, screaming at me for stalking her. I didn't hold back. The things I said, well, let's just say the mods wouldn't allow them here. That was the last time we ever spoke directly. For the remaining 2 months of our divorce, she paraded Buddy around in secret. Then not so secretly. She posted pictures. She updated her relationship status. Our mutual friends started reaching out, asking what was going on. I told the truth. I wasn't trying to ruin her reputation. I just refused to let her rewrite the story. More and more people called, shocked by what they heard. Many of them had spoken to her first, only to realize she was downplaying everything, if she admitted to it at all. They chose to support me. Even some of her closest relatives took my side. Her public displays with Buddy became bolder, each post another knife to the gut. Then came Valentine's Day, just days before our divorce was finalized. 3 different people sent me screenshots of the same post, a picture of them together, a gushing caption about how incredible God was for giving her a great boyfriend. She literally wrote that she hoped to marry him someday. The responses were priceless. Confused family members, surprised emojis, people asking, "Wait, who is this?" I should have laughed. Instead, I just felt sick. I don't care that she's with him. I don't care that she moved on. What haunts me is who she became, the cold, selfish stranger I somehow married. The woman I loved never existed. Freedom at last. The court date arrived. I waited for the other shoe to drop, for her to contest something, to drag this out just to spite me. But she didn't. She signed the papers without a fight. No spousal support. No attorneys. No court battles. My 401k stayed mine. That was it. I blocked her number that same day. The next day, my friends, 7 of my closest, most loyal friends, 6 of whom were mutual, threw me a divorce party. We celebrated. We laughed. Someone posted a video on Snapchat. She saw it. By the end of the night, she had blocked every single one of them on social media. Some of them even received angry, abusive texts, including her maid of honor, who was at the party and now never wants to see her again. It was over. Or at least it should have been. The final dilemma. There's one last thing. During the darkest days of my obsession, when I combed through her digital footprints, uncovering every sickening detail, I found something worse than I expected. She wasn't just cheating with Buddy. There was another man. An old flame from our hometown. A married man. With a wife and a child. And now, 2 years later, I still don't know what to do. Every time I consider telling his wife, I hesitate. Not because I think he deserves to get away with it, he doesn't. But because I know what this will do to their family. Would I be doing the right thing, or would I just be dragging another innocent person into the same hell I barely survived? I don't know. And I hate that I don't know. 2 years later. It's been nearly 2 years since my D-Day. When I read my old posts, I can hardly believe I was that person. I was lost. Broken. Haunted. Today, I am none of those things. I am free. I no longer wake up in a cold sweat, reliving her lies. I no longer track her movements, no longer care where she sleeps at night. I no longer love her. I don't even hate her. I feel nothing at all. And that, more than anything, is how I know I've finally moved on. 3 years later, closure, success, and the road ahead. 3 years. 3 years since the day my life shattered. 3 years since I learned the truth about the woman I thought I knew. 3 years since I fell apart, rebuilt myself, and finally moved on. This is my last update. Not because there's nothing left to say, but because I've reached a point where the past no longer defines me. The final chapter of her story. I never spoke to her again, but life has a way of making sure you hear things you don't want to. May 2019, just 3 months after our divorce, I got a call from a friend. The news? My ex-wife was remarrying. Not to Buddy. Not to the hometown flame. To a man from Tennessee she met online. Wait, what? I didn't believe it at first. But my friend's husband, who hadn't blocked her on Facebook, took screenshots. It was all there. Posts about everything happening for a reason, vague quotes about fate, and then, suddenly, a courthouse wedding in California. The kicker? They had never met in person before the wedding. Let that sink in. They spent months talking over the phone, texting, and video calling. He proposed. She said yes. A week later, she notified her family and invited them to the wedding. Not a single family member attended. By Sunday, she was packing her belongings into a moving truck. By Monday, she was on the road to Tennessee with her new husband. I was stunned. Not sad, not angry, just amazed. This woman, who had made my life hell, had jumped headfirst into another marriage with a complete stranger. Poor guy. Maybe he knew who she was. Maybe he didn't. But if he didn't, well, he was about to find out. I took comfort in one thing: she was gone. Tennessee was far enough that I would never have to see her again. That was the last I heard of her. The unexpected punch to the gut. Months passed. I moved forward. Then, in the fall of 2019, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw it. A video. My ex-wife carrying a dish. Her father standing in front of her, covering his eyes. On the dish? A single blue frosted cookie. Then the countdown. 3, 2, 1. It's a boy. Her father opened his eyes and cheered. I sat there, frozen. She was pregnant. Instagram's algorithm had done me dirty. It suggested this video from her mother's new public account. And just like that, all the emotions I thought I had buried came flooding back. Not because I still cared about her, but because of what could have been. I had always wanted to be a father. If she hadn't cheated, if we had stayed together, This baby, this life she was celebrating, it could have been mine. For days, I wrestled with emotions I thought I had left behind: anger, sadness, resentment, even jealousy. But eventually, I came to a realization. This wasn't my life. It wasn't my child. And thank God for that. Whatever mess she had created was now his problem, not mine. Finding my own path. After that, I truly let go. I stopped checking. Stopped caring. Blocked anyone who might bring up her name. Her entire family stopped talking to me. It was difficult. Losing them was almost as hard as losing the marriage itself. Some of them I had loved like my own blood. But it had to be done. And you know what? It worked. More and more days passed without me thinking about her. And when I did, it wasn't with sadness or regret. It was relief. I dodged a disaster. The rise of a new life. The pandemic hit in 2020, and like everyone else, I had to adjust. But instead of letting it break me, I built something new. I started my own tech consulting firm. I took a leap of faith, betting everything on myself. And almost immediately, it paid off. Within months, I secured contracts, including 2 government agencies in my county. Those contracts have since been extended. My finances are better than ever. My work fulfills me. My confidence has skyrocketed. For the first time in my life, I like the man I see in the mirror. I've gotten healthier, stronger, more focused. I don't live in the past anymore. I don't fear the future. I just live. Well, maybe someday. If there's one lingering challenge, it's trust. I haven't dated much. Not because I don't want to, but because I know myself. I refuse to settle for just anyone. I dipped my toe into online dating. It was a dumpster fire. 3 or 4 dates and I was done. Too many people carrying emotional baggage. Too many women saying they wanted something serious but just craving validation. I don't blame them. But I refuse to play that game. That doesn't mean I've given up on love. Far from it. I still want that connection, that deep, meaningful partnership. But I'm not desperate for it. I'd rather be alone than with the wrong person. And honestly, I'm happy. I wake up every day with purpose. I have control over my life. My business is thriving. My friendships are strong. My mind is clear. If love finds me, great. If not, that's fine too. Because for the first time in years, I am whole. Final words. To those who have followed my journey, thank you. Your comments, your messages, your support, they got me through the worst days of my life. This is my last update because for the first time I have nothing left to say. I'm not the man I was 3 years ago. I'm better. Here's to the future. Whatever it may hold. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more incredible, engaging, and real-life experiences, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps bring more amazing stories to life. Stay tuned for the latest updates, deep dives, and gripping narratives. Hit that subscribe button now and be part of the journey.